If you're a cyclist who wants stronger legs but doesn't have time for the gym or just can't be bothered completing complicated workouts, this might be the single best and very humbling lower body exercise you're not doing. Most cyclists think they need heavy squats, leg presses or fancy equipment to get strong. But one of the most effective exercises that I've used with many clients requires no kit, hardly any space, and targets the exact muscles that cycling relies on. In a minute, I'll show you exactly why this exercise works so well, specifically for cyclists, how to do it properly, and the key mistakes people often make that results in you having tired legs without them getting stronger. But the exercise itself is called the narrow split squat. And this exercise works specifically well for cyclists for three main reasons. The first of which is that it's a single leg exercise. Cycling is a single leg exercise as well. So as well as things like squats work to help you boost power and have been mentioned in many studies that have shown an increased FTP, for example, an exercise that utilizes single leg strength is going to really help transfer over to the bike. That leads on to benefit number two, which is that it's going to help you with pelvic control and really helping you to balance the power between your left and your right. We often have one dominant leg, so working one leg at a time is going to help you to even things out. It's going to help you to control your pelvis as well, because whilst doing this exercise, you've got to focus on keeping your hips in line, which is going to really help to strengthen your glutes and put your pelvis in a nice position, helping you to prevent injuries at the lower back, for example, further down the line. And the third and final reason as to why this helps cyclists specifically is that when we are on the bike, our knee does go over our foot a fair amount. In other exercises like lunges, for example, or Bulgarian split squats, your knee can be left behind your foot quite a lot, which targets the glutes and hamstrings that little bit more. With this exercise, the knee is quite far over the toes, preferencing the quad, just as we do in cycling. That not only means that this exercise is a little bit more cycling specific, but it's also going to help to target the patellar tendon, which attaches to our quad as well, an area a lot of cyclists struggle with when it comes to knee pain. And if done well and progressed over time, it can potentially reduce your risk of knee pain in the future too. And that specific quad strength is really going to help you with your climbing, going to help you with repeat sprint efforts, and also generally just going to help you improve your FTP over time. And just to debunk that knees over toes myth as well, it's been debunked for a while now, but hopefully a lot of you know it's very safe and okay to push your knees over your toes when you're exercising, as long as you do it in a progressive way. And finally, before I move on to exactly how to perform the exercise, one of the other brilliant benefits that this exercise has is that it requires no kit. You can do it at home, and it is very easy to progress up until a certain point, and most people probably wouldn't get to that point anyway, because it is a very tricky exercise if done well. This exercise has been perfect for me. I'm a new dad. I've got a 3-month-old little girl now, so over the past couple of months I haven't really been wanting to spend lots of time in my garage gym away from her. So this exercise has been one that I've practiced quite a lot in my office, in my home office, done a couple of sets a couple of times a week, and has helped me to maintain my leg strength whilst maybe not doing as much exercise as I normally would be. So in a second, I'll go through exactly how to fit the split squat into your training, how many sets and reps to do, and all that good stuff. But let's focus on the technique first and how to get it right. So the first thing you're going to do, well, the first thing you need to know is that your front foot is going to stay completely flat on the floor the whole time, the whole way through the movement. We're going to set ourselves up from the bottom because it means we can get our foot position right. So you're going to have your knee of the trailing leg either between the heel or the middle of the arch of your foot. Either's completely fine, but you don't want it too far back, otherwise it'll be a normal lunge, too far forward, and you're gonna really start to struggle. So now we've got ourselves set up, we're gonna be on the toes of the back leg, and then we're just gonna have a nice sort of gentle lean at the hips. We don't wanna be too far forwards or too far upright. So now we've got our feet in the right place, bearing in mind where the knee is going to be. This foot's gonna stay completely flat on the floor, and we want this knee to come as far forward over the toes as we can have it, whilst our foot stays flat and the heel stays down. Then we're just going to stand up. It doesn't matter how you do it, just stand up for now. This is where we're going to start our movement. You can stand next to a wall or a banister or some sort of railing, whatever you've got, just to stabilize yourself if you need to. So we're going to keep this knee as far forward as we possibly can. That's going to keep tension on the quad. Then, as I mentioned, slight forward lean with the hips, then we're going to stay there. Then all we're doing is dropping down and forwards, keeping that foot completely flat, as much weight on this front leg as possible, hardly anything on the back. Get to the bottom, push the weight towards the heel, then back to the midfoot, and then push that left foot, drive that foot through the floor, standing up as tall as you can, again keeping that knee as far forward over this foot as possible. And we're looking to have as much weight as possible under the arch of our foot here. So we don't want the weight right at the front, otherwise our heel's going to lift off. We don't want it right at the back, until we're right at the bottom of the movement. We want to imagine we've got like an orange underneath the arch of our foot, and that's where we're trying to squish the whole way through the movement. So down nice and slowly, rock back, weight through the heel, weight back through the arch, drive up. There are 3 key mistakes which people make with the narrow squat that means they're going to progress that a little bit more slowly. It's not going to be as effective. The first mistake is putting too much weight through the back leg. This is a single leg exercise. We want as much weight as we possibly can through that front leg whilst we're completing the movement. We can put a little bit of weight through that back leg, especially at the bottom of the movement, or if we're a beginner and it's just too hard to put as much weight as possible through that front leg. But ideally, as you progress, more and more weight should be going through that front leg, through that front quad, as little as possible through the back leg. The second mistake is that people just go too quickly through the movement and don't put any thought into the technique or where they're feeling it. The movement should be super slow and super controlled. You should be feeding your front quad and front glute absolutely screaming through the movement. It should be about 3 seconds down, maybe a slight pause at the bottom as your weight shifts back and forwards, and then 3 seconds up. And that's as a minimum. It should be slow, controlled. That's what makes this movement so humbling. It is that it's slow and controlled. And as I mentioned before, the knee stays over the toes. So unfortunately, there's no break for our quads. That's why it's so humbling. Even as a bodyweight exercise, it's so difficult. And the final mistake is that people avoid pushing that front knee over the toes. But that's exactly why this exercise is brilliant. As soon as your knee comes back, the movement becomes more about the glutes and the hamstrings a little bit, and more weight goes on that back leg, as opposed to being a quad dominant movement, being really effective for riding. So make sure you keep that front knee as far forward as possible, keeping your heel of the front foot flat on the floor. So how do you go about implementing the split squat into your training week? Well, as with all strength training, I always recommend doing an exercise twice per week. So doing the split squat, as well as 1 or 2 other strength exercises twice a week, you should be on to a winner. Either hit your strength work immediately after a hard ride, or on a day where you have a rest day or an easy day after. Complete 3 to 4 sets of the narrow split squat, anywhere between 3 to 10 repetitions. Start at 3 if you can, maybe with some assistance holding onto something if that's going to help, maybe putting a little bit more weight on that back leg at first, and as you get stronger, put more weight through that front leg and build up towards 10 repetitions. Once you can hit 10 repetitions with all your weight on that front leg, doing the exercise perfectly, number one, you're stronger than me, but you can then probably hold some kind of weighted object, whether that's like a dumbbell, for example, or a kettlebell, whatever works best for you. Or you could also make it more difficult just by slowing down your reps even further. And as always, if you want something a little bit more thorough, feel free to grab my free Ride Strong Cycling specific strength routine in the description below. But I hope you enjoy putting your legs through their paces with a narrow split squat. Ride strong, and I'll see you in the next one.